Welcome to another edition of Mind, Body, and Spirit. I'm your host, registered dietitian Karen Kowalix. On today's show, a local actress will share how a mission trip to Guatemala gave birth to a new role in her life. And the combined loss of 150 pounds transformed the lives of Chris and Debbie Perrone, who are with us today. Their story is remarkable not only because of the amount of weight lost, but because it began after Chris was hit by an SUV. And finally, did you know the roots of healthy eating began in Cleveland, Ohio? Some local dietitians are here to talk about the 100th anniversary of the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And we'll also preview a food tasting event coming up in Akron to celebrate National Nutrition Month. All that plus my health tip segment coming up next on Mind, Body, and Spirit.
It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day. It's a healthy start to a new day.
A trip to Guatemala changed the life of our next guest. On a whim, she decided to tag along with a friend who was on a mission to build houses. And just 2 short years later, Nancy Telzero is now the Director of Operations of the group that sponsored the trip, Chime In, and she joins me today. Welcome to the program, Nancy.
Thank you for having me, Karen.
So tell us about Chime In. What does it stand for and what is its mission?
Well, Chime In stands for the Change Is Me International. And basically, it's youth ambassadors that work with adult mentors, and together we try to affect change. And the hope is that it would be sustainable, better for the environment, better for the communities around us.
So the first time you went to Guatemala, how did that come to be? And did you ever imagine yourself in a developing nation? And
No. And it was crazy how it happened, because I literally went to visit my friends in California, and they had a bunch of guests over, and they were all talking about Guatemala, and I said, what's up with Guatemala? And they said, we're going there. And I said, really? For what? They said, we're going to build houses for the poor. And I said, oh my gosh, how long will you be there? They said 8 days. And then I thought, well, how much does it cost? And they said, well, basically your plane ticket, and we provide housing, or you can, stay in a hotel if you prefer. And then in my head, like with a snap of a finger, I said, okay, can I go?
And this is something you've never done before?
Never done, never had any desire to do, never thought to do, have no inclination toward it. But I said, if my friend can go, I could go. And it's only 8 days out of my life, why not?
You must be one heck of a volunteer, because now you're running the group.
Yeah. Well, a little bit. I'm not running the group, but I am in charge of the dot the I's, cross the T's sort of thing. So yeah, I was very involved and very happy to interact with these people. These youth ambassadors are amazing. They come from all over the world, Uganda, Australia, the UK, the United States, Colombia, Guatemala, where we just went, and they're so amazing to be around. I'm really fortunate to be able to be part of the organization.
So tell us, what was it like when you went on your recent trip? What were you doing? What were the people like?
Well, we went to Colombia, and then we went to Guatemala. And in Colombia, it was more of a learning experience than it was a service trip. And we learned all about organic farming and permaculture and things that I'd never known about. We got to stay in a hotel that was built out of all bamboo, and we learned how to build compost toilets. And then we went to Guatemala, and we built a house for the poor. There were 5 houses, but I worked on one house.
Were these people living in homes currently, or they didn't have homes?
They basically have crude homes from things that they gather. Maybe they go to the dump to get it, or maybe they find it locally on the street, and it's whatever they can find to build what would be a structure, really. It's hard to call it a home, but a lot of times they have leaking ceilings and all of that sort of thing. So when we build these houses, suddenly they have actual shelter.
Now, did you have any construction experience? I know you're an actress by trade, but
No.
You're probably one of the most feminine women I know. I can't imagine you doing construction work.
No, me, I couldn't either. And it's kind of funny if you ever, there are some videos online that are showing me doing it, so it's pretty funny. But no, I have no background doing that. But the nice thing is we connected with a group called Techo, which means roof in Spanish, and these folks all taught us. So we all came in with no knowledge of how to build a house, and they taught us everything. So I thought maybe it would be like they would build everything and then they'd say paint that strip of wood right there, but it wasn't that. It was get up on the roof and start pounding it in and, you know, put this, you know, dig this hole with the post hole digger and do, I mean, I touched every part of the house and did something with it. So it was kind of crazy.
Now, you mentioned a compost toilet.
Yeah.
The only ones I have ever seen is on that show Tiny Houses, where people have a small toilet because they don't have plumbing.
Right.
What was it like in Guatemala? What were you creating?
Well, in Guatemala, we just did the houses, but in Colombia is where we learned how to make the toilets, and I really think I want to bring it here somehow and maybe help a farm or something. But basically, a compost toilet, to explain it in you know, quick terms, it's like a regular toilet. It would be, you would look at it and it looks like a seat, and there's a seal on it, and you take the seal off and you put the seat down, do your business, and then you take a handful of wood chips and you put it down on it, and you put the seal back, and that's it. So there's no flushing, there's no water, but what happens is underneath, it turns into wonderful soil. I mean, soil that I literally later put my hand in and was like, oh, smells good. I mean, can you, bare hand? Sounds crazy, but there's a process that happens, and obviously you don't take the fresh stuff, but the older stuff, there's a door in the back, and they open up the door and they take all this fresh soil and they use it for their crops.
That is incredible. And you mentioned bringing that to Ohio. How would we use that here?
Well, I think that there are some farms, and certainly they would be more open to such a thing. And anywhere where they can't have plumbing, but they need, you know, the facilities, so to speak, this would be good. So I think I'd love to help someone do that, and if anybody were interested, any of your people who are watching, I would be the first to help them, because it's really economical. And then when you think of the fact that it's using your waste instead of just putting your waste into the water that we drink. I mean, when I learned about it, it made just a world of sense.
So if there's a viewer out there watching that would like to go on a trip, a mission trip, how would they do it with your group?
With our group, well, first of all, if they could become a youth ambassador, they'd have to apply to do that. There are some criteria that have to be met. Or they could be like myself and volunteer and be crazy and say, I'm coming. But, you know, you pay for your own ticket in your own way. We encourage anyone and everyone to join us because it's such a great experience.
And the web address?
And the web address for Chime In is chimein.org.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nancy. We're looking forward to checking out that website. We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
2017 marks the 100th anniversary of the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. This national organization, which I am a member of, was founded right here in Cleveland, Ohio. So it's a year to celebrate, especially for local dietitians, and I have two of them joining me today, Yvonne Marzek, who is the president of the local Akron chapter, and Akron board member Danielle Domingo. Welcome to the program, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
So Yvonne, since you're the president, can you share give our audience a little background on the mission of the Dietetic Association and how it began so many years ago?
The dietetics profession began actually in Cleveland, Ohio in 1917. A group of bold, visionary women decided that they needed to protect the public and the troops and conserve food during World War I. And unbeknownst to them, they became the American Academy of Dietetics. And so right in Cleveland, Ohio, they didn't have the right to vote yet. and they still had that vision that we needed to do that, so that they needed to do that rather. So it began. So we're going to celebrate them this year, and cheers to them for being so bold and strong.
You know, sometimes there's a misconception that I think we feel as dietitians about what a dietitian actually is and what's involved, and some people call themselves nutritionists, but there is a difference. Can you explain that to our audience?
Yes, Karen, there's a big difference actually. In order for an individual to become a registered and licensed dietitian, we are required to follow a strict regimen of education. We have a Bachelor of Science degree, and then we follow coursework that's through the Accredited Council for Education in Nutrition and Dietetics. And through that coursework, then there's a dietetic internship that needs to be completed, or a supervised practice of over 1,200 hours after the bachelor's degree is completed. Then that makes you eligible to sit for a national exam to become a registered dietitian, which is provided through the Commission on Dietetic Registration. After that, we are also required to have 75 continuing education units every 5 years to maintain our credentialing. And without that, you are not allowed to practice. And here in the state of Ohio, it is a law. You will see the RD, LD, or RDN, LD behind excuse me, an individual's name, and that means that they are licensed in the state of Ohio through the Ohio Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So it's important to look for those credentials, because then you know that we are the go-to, we are the nutrition experts, and you can trust that the information that we're going to provide you is evidence-based and best practice, and we're going to take good care of you to protect you, your family, and the overall public.
Really important. And now let's talk about some fun things, how we're going to celebrate this year. Danielle, you're the chair of a big event we have coming up in March. Can you tell our audience what it's about?
So the Greater Akron Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics hosts the Nutritious and Delicious Gala every year for two things. We hold it to celebrate National Nutrition Month, which is the month of March. And we also hold this event to raise money for student scholarships. So students that are going to Akron University and Kent State studying in the nutrition program there.
So this is a food tasting event. Tickets are $35.
Yes.
What can someone who's coming expect?
So this is a great food tasting event. We will have about 15 local restaurants and catering companies. So those restaurants and catering companies will be bringing their chefs to represent them, and they will be dishing up some of their most delicious and nutritious dishes, showcasing those. So it's a great opportunity to maybe taste some dishes, try out some restaurants that you may not know about, or maybe you're kind of on the fence about. So it's a great time to come and check them out all right here at one event.
I think one of the fun, because I've been involved with it for many years now, one of the fun part for people attending is they get to vote. Can you tell us about some of the awards that are going to be taking place?
Yes, so the guests do get to vote. It's called the People's Choice Award, and when they first walk into the event, they are given tickets. So after they go around and taste all the different dishes, they drop their ticket in their favorite dish.
And then we have some other awards that the dietitians give out, healthiest dish, and what were a couple of the others?
Yes, we have 3 other awards. So the Favorite Dessert Award, we have the Best Display and Overall Presentation Award, and we have the Healthiest Dish Award, which is a panel of RD judges.
I think it's important for people to know part of the reason we do this event is because many times consumers think you can't eat out and be healthy, and these restaurants are restaurants that do provide healthier fare. Can you fill us in on some of the people who might be there or who are going to be there this year, some of the restaurants?
Yes, I don't want to give them all away, but we are going to have Crave Cantina, which is going to be a new restaurant opening up in Cuyahoga Falls. They're going to have Latin cuisine, so they're going to be showcasing some of their dishes there. We're also going to have a couple catering companies. Totally Cooked Catering will be there. Sandridge will be there. Dino's Catering will be there. And
I know a favorite chef of ours who's been on this show many times is John Selleck, and also Paul from Red's Place. They kind of the chefs have a competition going every year to see who's going to win. It's a very friendly competition, and 2 glasses of wine, a beautiful wine glass, and a fun time. Anything else you guys want to say about the event? Anything else we're gonna have music, raffle baskets?
Raffle baskets. This year we're gonna have a live jazz band, the Jazz Shepherds. Right. They're coming. We are also having our tables decorated by a local florist, the Tilted Tulip. So that's gonna be a nice little enhancement from last year.
I love that you change it up every year.
Right. And please join us. We'd love to see you. And the theme for National Nutrition Month is put your best fork forward. So we'll have the forks. Just come and join us.
That's right. And you can purchase tickets at www.eatrightakron.org. Thank you, ladies, for sharing this information with us. We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education. So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour to show them that higher education means a brighter future.
My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
My next guests prove that there is power in numbers. Chris and Debbie Perrone lost a combined total of 150 pounds. This amazing accomplishment occurred after Chris was hit by an SUV as he was walking in downtown Cleveland. They're here to share their amazing story of transformation. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Chris, first off, can you tell us about this accident? What happened?
I was walking home from work, just crossing East 9th, the corner of East 9th and Lakeside, where an SUV came on apparently at full speed and knocked me over. I don't remember much of what happened immediately afterward, except waking up in the hospital, what I guess was 5 days afterward, spending then 5 weeks in the hospital, and another 3 months at home recuperating, bedbound the entire time. It was not fun.
So you were bedbound, you couldn't walk, but started to work towards losing some weight?
It actually happened while I was recovering, because at that time I couldn't eat much. In the first few days I was on a liquid diet, and then gradually the hospital fed me just smaller meals, dietary versions of meals, and it was much less than I was used to eating. All during this time I had been losing weight steadily, and I at that time had weighed about 280 pounds, and eventually went down to, next time I checked, I was down to 240, then 230, and then went down to pretty much where I'm at right now, which is about 190, all without really doing much in terms of exercise. For the most part, I couldn't. But when I saw that I got down to that point, I said, I can't ever be that high again. So now I'm doing whatever it takes to stay in that range and maybe even lose a little bit more.
Now, Debbie, you lost about 60 pounds during this time period.
Yes.
Most of us would think this would be so much stress. How could you actually lose weight when being under the stress? How were you motivated?
Well, I didn't lose mine while he was in recovery or anything like that. As you said, it was very stressful, so I actually gained weight during the time. But when I had a doctor's visit, that was about a year after I'd gained a lot of the weight, my diabetes was out of control again. So I just said, okay, that's it, because there's too much of the diabetes in my family. And I wanted to be around with him because he did such a phenomenal job in working back his way to us, that it was just time to do it again, because I had gastric bypass surgery in 2004, and like many people, I gained most of it back.
Wow.
And as soon as I saw those numbers from the doctor, I'm like, no, I can't do that again.
So what did you do? What did you do? You mentioned maintaining it. What's your routine like?
Mainly it just started getting back into just simple walking. I mean, Deb had been working out steadily over where she works in Bedford Heights, and when I started up with Cardinal about 2.5 years ago now, I wanted to get going too. And when I saw the great fitness center there, I just had to get motivated and get going and get to work every day by working out first, and that was what helped me keep the weight off.
To put it into some perspective for our audience, because I should share that we all work together, so I see these guys every day. That's how I knew about their story. Sometimes when people want to lose weight, they don't realize what you have to put in. How much are you guys exercising? Debbie, how much are you exercising? What are you guys doing? What type of things are you guys doing?
Well, in the beginning, I just walked, and then I changed my diet, and then when I joined the fitness center where he works, it was phenomenal because all the classes that you offer, the personal training, I'm there 8 times a week. I go there every morning and then 3 evenings. And it's just because of all the classes you offer. I just want to take everything I can, and you know, now we're in training for some events that we enjoy, and it's totally changed the way that we look at, like, just going to the store. Let's park back here because I want to do some extra steps.
And speaking of steps, you guys do some step challenges. Chris, can you tell us about those?
Yeah, one challenge that we've done is Tackle the Tower, which is held usually around this time of year, where it challenges us to go up 39 floors in, I forget the name of the building, in downtown Cleveland.
Galleria.
Thank you, Galleria. And we do that just as a fun walk to see if we can do it and just have fun with the people we walk with. And then in addition to that, I decided for a taller challenge, so I did the former Sears Tower, now called the Willis Tower in Chicago. That's 103 floors, and had a lot of fun with that. A much longer walk, but enough of a challenge. It required additional training for me, 8 months worth, in fact. But when I got up there, just the view from up there was awesome. Just the experience was awesome. And having Deb with me as a cheerleader and just a motivator was awesome too. It's just a wonderful experience.
Does it blow your mind that you were where you came from? You were in a hospital bed, could not walk, and then you're doing the Willis Tower.
Absolutely. It was literally night and day for me. Going from where I was when I had gotten run over, being extraordinarily out of shape, obese, maybe even morbidly so at that point, to where I am now, where I'm at a good, reasonable, achievable level that I can maintain just with working out with Deb, working out at the fitness center, and having all the equipment, all the classes at hand if I wanted to. Just to keep with that, having those tools and being able to use them, that's really made a seriously life-changing event for me and something I want to maintain.
Can you share any words of wisdom with, maybe there's a couple out there watching and maybe one partner wants to lose weight, one doesn't. Can you share any tips for them or how they could support each other?
I find that because we do it together, we do the same, not necessarily the exact same foods, but in the past, like, I would do the weight loss and he would eat whatever he was going to eat. Now we both eat sugar-free. We both watch more what we eat. We're more conscious of it. We read labels more than we used to. It just makes a huge difference when you both are doing it at the same time. It's really difficult if only one in the family is going to do it, because you have to live there, and if there's other things in the house that you want and they're going to eat, it's too much of a challenge.
Plus, we can cheer each other on. As I mentioned, we go work out together, we participate in events together, the stair climb together, whereas I did the tower climb over in Chicago, you did a 5K, and at those events we were able to cheer each other on. It's just a kind of symbiosis we have, in that we're together and we're best buddies both inside and outside of the fitness center, but that's worked out remarkably well for us.
Well, you guys truly are an inspiration, and it looks like putting in the time, watching what you're eating and supporting each other seems to be the key.
Yes, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without him here today, and he just showed me that way when he was hit by that car. He came through it magnificently, and
with a lot of help.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Mind, Body, and Spirit.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
In today's health tip segment, I thought I would talk about creating a grab-and-go section of your refrigerator that contains healthy food. So if you're looking to lose weight, eat healthier, maybe just save some money on food, planning is the key. Because what happens is when hungry meets I have no prepared food, that's when we end up hitting the drive-through for fast food or grabbing that bag of chips and the whole thing of dips. So planning is key. So I'm going to talk about that today. What I did with my family is I asked my kids and my husband to make a list of the healthy foods or the foods that they would like on this shelf. Some I kept in, some I didn't. Of course, my son asked for Pop-Tarts. You won't see any of those there, but I've created healthy, delicious, grab-and-go snacks and meals that they can get on the run and I can get on the run for myself. So the first thing when you're creating this type of shelf, what you want to do is have the proper tools. So it's really important to have lots of measuring spoons and measuring cups. Get several sets. I love these collapsible ones. I got these from Bed Bath & Beyond because they're easy for storage, but you don't want ever the excuse to be my measuring cup wasn't clean, so I'm going to eyeball this, because when we start to eyeball how much a serving is, that's when we kind of get off track. Have lots of cutting boards clean. Colanders, I love this one. This is a collapsible, which is nice, easy for storage. Have lots of these around so that you can wash all your fruits and vegetables. Plenty of tools. Also really important is having a scale. If you want to portion your snacks out, it's important to weigh everything. You don't have to start with doing that, but that might be something you want to do down the road so you know how much you're eating of certain foods. And I use the app MyFitnessPal. I love it. I can enter in 2 cups of pineapple, an egg, a peanut butter and celery, and kind of keep track of my calories throughout the day. It's a completely free app. And what I like about it is I can compare. It gets you thinking about what you're eating. Do I want to eat this that's 300 calories or this that's 300 calories but seems a lot more filling? So the type of food you want to keep in your refrigerator to keep us feeling full and satisfied, you should look for food that contains fiber, some protein, and a little bit of fat. Those types of food take longer to digest than simple carbohydrates such as white bread and jelly. That's going to go through your system quickly, or a candy bar, and you're going to be hungry again. These are filling foods. So for instance, my husband and daughter said they love pineapple, so I cut up a couple I don't know what you call them, actual pineapples, and I put them in single serving containers, and I put the date on them. That's really important because you want to make sure that that you eat what's in, so we don't waste any food. It's important to have the date on there so you eat the one that's the oldest. The other thing that I do is I pre-make meals. This is basically some quinoa and black beans, and then I have some salsa that I put in a little container. And I can just take this real quick to work, or the kids can pop this in the microwave. And what you might want to do is put the actual amounts, like this says 3/4 cup quinoa, 1/2 cup beans, so I know exactly what I'm getting. Not crucial if you're not watching your weight, but if you are, that might be something if you want to track calories. In addition, I love these glass containers because on the lid it says 2 cups. So if I didn't have time to measure something out, I know that if I'm eating this is 2 cups of pasta salad. Other things that you might want to keep, grab and go, hard-boiled eggs, have dips around. You can cut up some celery or baby carrots or cucumber, and you have your dips, easy to go. Cheese, anything grab and go, so that when you're really hungry, you have something ready to eat, so we don't hit the fast food, we don't hit the chips and dips. Well, that's a little tip for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Karen Kowalik. We'll see you next time on Mind, Body, and Spirit.